4, 3, 2, 1.
Edge of the box is Madden. Madden trying to manufacture the shot, gets it away, it's there! Oh my word! What a goal from Paddy Madden! The Irishman strikes again! And is that the goal that's going to send Stockport County back into the Football League?
At the end of the day, he ordered the deaths of over 6 million people, Russ, so I don't care if you do like his little shoes. Hello and welcome to the Scarf Bagara War. Yes, it's Wednesday night, which means it's time for your weekly review of the week, what went on in the last week. I spent the last week learning that. That's why I've disappointed everyone who's ever loved me. Right, moving on. Joining me, Nick Lee, it's a man who was once described as joining me this week. It's Russ Johnson, who is joining me this week.
I am joining you. Yeah, joining you. I join you every week.
Joining my little jamboree of idiocy.
Jamboree. Not used that word for a long time, have we?
Probably since I was in Scouts, I'd imagine.
No, it got used more recently than that in our Dark Day series.
Yes, yeah.
Jamboree.
Jamboree of shite or something along those lines, wasn't it?
Yeah, if you
Luckily, we don't have to think about jamborees of shite anymore. So.
No, we don't. But if you haven't heard our Dark Day series, go back and listen to that. You will be amazed and appalled in equal measure.
And I'm not on it, so that's another one to chalk up to it.
Yeah, another reason to listen.
Yeah, don't have me monopolising the conversation by trying to be funny. So it's a win in my book.
Good stuff. I'm sticking with good stuff for now. We're gonna escalate that over the months and years. Tonight we've so I've got something in front there. Tonight we've got a fan guest, Hannah Brown, who's joining us imminently. And we're also going to be joined by Man City, Jesus Christ, Salford City's media man and match commentator, Will Moorcroft. So we're excited for that. He's going to stick with us for about 10-15 minutes. And then we'll tell him to go so we can talk about Salford behind his back. Basically, that's what we're going to do. We'll talk about the Swindon match. We'll talk about a new Pale Ale County ladies as well into the cup final. We'll talk about that. Talk a bit of here, game 2, and a bit of admin. So without further ado, shall we get Hannah out? Now, before we do that, she gave us the answers to our new questions that we like to tell everybody.
Our new questions that we're the first people to ever ask anyone.
Yes.
Like patented our questions. No one's ever been asked these before.
No, anyway. Not on a Stockport County podcast anyway. So
no, and they never will. We put our rivals in the ground, don't we, Russ?
So Hannah's first match, County versus Huddersfield, February '92. I guess she can't remember the score, like I couldn't remember my first match and my score. There you go. Yeah. Best goal witnessed live, the Will Collar goal against Halifax, not because it was the best goal, but because it was what it meant. She hates a 1-0 lead. That goal made her feel like it was actually happening. Got to agree with that 100%. Best moment as a County fan. This is one we'll talk about later. Barrow this season, back in the EFL. I think her daughter Lottie, I think that's a daughter, walked out the team as mascot. So probably not the best one for everybody else, but that's a good one to talk about later, I think.
As long as Hannah enjoyed herself, that's the main thing.
Yeah, 3-0 down after 30 minutes. But as long as Hannah's all right.
That's what we should be striving towards as a football club. Before Mark Stock makes all these big decisions costing £1 million, he should be like, is Hannah good for this? I'm on board with it.
And favourite ever player, it's Sir Kevin Francis.
It's not to critique the choice of favourite player there, but
you cannot.
You can't.
No. I say commend is probably the word I was going to use.
The Barrow thing, you can. That's totally questionable. And I should have said.
I mean, I don't want to get into Barrow.
Did at the whistle, and it was the first time my mum ever went to county as well. But yeah, I cried watching Lottie walk the team out. So that's my moment.
You've even brought a turtle or glass heart over it. Even I got a bit emotional when Russ. That doesn't happen. I've only ever shown my emotions once, Russ, and I asked. That was when I asked the taxi driver to slow down because there was a horse going past. That's quite nice. That's a nice thing to do because horses don't like loud noises.
Heart of glass. You're an emotional wreck, aren't you? I thought.
Well, yeah, but not when I'm performing. Russ.
Oh right, okay.
I've got the persona to keep on with. I don't want people coming up to me at matches.
Got the game face on. Got the game face on. So yeah, what we'll do? You stick around, Hannah. Should we do admin now, like we always plan to, and then get Will out? Like because we always, I always forget, and then move on. So we've got mugs for sale. That
was the wankiest moment of either of our lives. That was terrible. That was like two snooker players in cardigans, like advertising Viennetta or something. That's the type of thing they did back then, wasn't it?
I don't know about cardigans and Viennetta, but two snooker players. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I
think snooker players and cardigans go together.
No, snooker players and waistcoats.
Yeah, like John Burgo's waistcoats.
Anyway, we have mugs.
A waistcoat is just a Tory cardigan, really, isn't it? If you look at it. If you think about it, it's the same vibe as a cardigan, really.
Lillis has got a waistcoat. He was showing us on Saturday. He wears it for match days in the away hospitality and looks really smart when he's representing the club, which I thought was really lovely.
Oh, I thought if you get like county branded waistcoats, I'd be cutting around in one all the time.
You have to tell Carla.
Yeah, stick that on the list. Tell us about your mugs, Russ. Come on.
Yeah, anyway, mugs. We've got mugs for sale. £10 for non-patrons, £7 for patrons. And if you're in the Stockport area, I'll deliver it like I have done for a couple of them. Otherwise, I'll meet you at a match or we'll arrange something. So, yeah, you can't go on the website to see them. So I will post them after the match because our website is down because we blew our bandwidth and we can't afford any more. So it's probably going to tick over on the 1st of April.
If people want to help us afford more, they can sign up to the Patreon, can't they, Russ?
Well, this is it. So it's
a very reasonable price of £3 of your English pounds a month.
Yes, that is it. And it's kind of a circular economy. You help us and we can sell more things to you. That's how it works. Yeah. So
it's how it works.
That's how it works. It's how it works. That's one piece of admin. The other one is Hatters 83 March this Friday. There's a big march from the Nelson Tavern at 6:30. It is back open. I'm not sure that the Bobby Peel will be open, but the Nelson will definitely be open from 6:30, and the march is from there. So yeah,
and that's a new feature on the show that we like to call "What Pubs Are Open on Friday," which will be bringing back every week now. Yeah, that's our pub report.
We'll have to do that. We'll have to get a little video and do that. That'd be pretty good. Bagara Gin, you've got an update on Bagara Gin. This is hot off the.
We are close to single figures of the final batch of Bagara Gin left now. So I'll put the link in the episode description for Stockport Gin, and you can get one. This is it. When they're gone, they're gone. Gone. Poof. There'll be no more
ever.
You're not having mine.
There'll be no more ever after that. Is that it?
No more ever. No more ever. Ever. Forever.
What's that? What's that one? That's
don't tell me.
Don't tell me. I was gonna. Don't tell me.
Sorry, Ross. But knowing this was going to be a pub quiz, I would have brought more questions and a picture round.
Don't tell me.
Right. One of my famous paedophile picture rounds.
Right. Let's get Will out because he's probably sat there wondering what's going on.
What the fuck is this?
Yeah, he knows what it is. He's been on before. So let's get Will out. We'll have a chat with him about the big game on Friday. Hello, Will. Is your mic working now?
It's on mute.
He's on mute again.
He's on mute again.
People of the world, stop putting yourselves on mute.
Technology.
Oh, there we go. He's back. Hey, how you doing, mate? You all right?
Yeah, good. Getting quite excited now. I think a lot of people are. So, yeah. So looking forward to the weekend or pre-weekend, hopefully.
Pre-weekend, yeah. So let's start with you're 1 point behind County. You've scored more goals per game than us, albeit conceding more goals per game. What are you, sixth? Are you?
Yeah, sixth.
Sixth. What's gone wrong? Because you were favourites to be right up there, weren't you?
Yeah, I think it's a label people put on us every single season. To be fair, in the last 8 years, whatever league we've been in, someone's always put on that. I think this year we've grown into what we're trying to do. Brought in some really good January reinforcements, but I think it's just taking a bit of time to really mould to where we want it to be. We had quite a few injuries as well early on, and I think when you look at the last few games, having Stevie Mallon back has been absolutely massive for us. We've got Liam Shepherd who's coming back as well, and they're two really big players who just helping a good squad depth that we've already got. Funnily enough, we were looking at the reverse fixture, and if you look at the difference between the squad then and the squad that we've got now, we've got a lot more strength and bodies available. So yeah, I think it's just a case of things have come together a bit later than we would have liked. But the most important thing from our point of view is that we're still in and about the conversation at the moment.
Yeah, good shout. I mean, you lost, was it 4-3 away at Crewe recently? Was that just pretty much a blip rather than anything else?
Yeah, I mean, if you go away from home and score 3 goals, I think you expect to win, no matter where you are. The players have even admitted themselves, there might have been a sense of complacency thinking that 85th minute, the game's won, which it wasn't. And to be fair, Crewe threw everything forward. And, I think from our point of view, we just conceded some really sloppy goals that night, which, recently we have conceded more goals than we would have liked. But thankfully, in most games, we're also outscoring people. So, if the goals keep coming at the top ends, you can let in a few at the back end. Just hopefully it's not more than what you're scoring.
Is that been the case for you then? Just almost like the Brazil from the 70s, just score more than the opposition, regardless of defence?
Yeah, I mean, it's flipped around a bit. So when we played you guys back in October and going into November, we were actually struggling to score, but we weren't that leaky at the back. So, I think the wins we were getting around there were pinching them 1-0s, 2-1s, or getting a couple of 0-0 draws in there. I can't put my finger on exactly why it's changed, but the goals are coming up front. I think that's just the strikers gaining confidence. We've got so many different threats and options that we can change to suit the opponent. And yeah, it's just, can we plug the gap at the back really, and stop that before the end of the season, or are we just going to keep going? The philosophy is always, can we score as many goals as we can? Obviously, I don't think there's any teams who don't, but yeah, that's seems to be where it's going. So it's exciting because it keeps you on your toes, and at least you've got stuff to celebrate and shout about.
Yeah, bit of interest towards the end of the season. And I suppose it goes to show as well, because you've got an under-23 manager, an ex-under-23 manager, have you?
Yeah, he's Woody's basically come up through United as a player. When he retired, he started coaching at Aston Villa actually, and then he went back to Man United, and he's coached all through the youth setup. So, coming into the first Football League job, I'm sure he'd take top half League too. Obviously, the club's got its own ambitions, but he's. I think you can see the way that we like to play. We do like to build out from the back and play the nice stuff. But what's been great to see this season is, I think, the way that Woody's learned as well as the season's gone on. I.e., when you need to use your strength. So when's the right time to bring big Matt Smith on and just throw him in there? Because at the end of the day, you need a goal, you need an outlet. So I think what we're seeing now is quite a nice amalgamation of philosophy and necessity coming together. And I think that's why we're on the run that we're on, really.
It's a weird one, because I think we were both expecting to be up there, like top 7 at least. But it just seems everyone seems to be faltering up there at the moment. We've had a bit of a slip up. Just everyone seems to be dropping points. I mean, I've never seen. Maybe it's just because we've been out of the league for so long, but I can't remember an end to a season that's going to be as topsy turvy as this one. I'm just glad we're not having to do the National League title race this season, because that's horrible. That gives me chest pains just looking at it.
Yeah,
it really knocks me sick.
Being in with Wrexham.
Yeah, but it's absolutely wide open. Even Leighton Orient are having a a wobble now as well. At one point, they were like close to 20 points clear of fourth, I think, at one point. It just all seems to be falling away now. It's been a weird one.
Yeah, and at some point as well, Stevenage were 2 or 3 clear as well. They had that good spell on top, but I think everyone picks up form at different points of the season. And you look back at the last few, Bolton, they were nowhere near it at the turn of the year a couple of years ago, and they flew up and got in there. Mansfield last season, obviously, Bristol Rovers last season. So there's always that element of someone's going to break in there. But for the teams who make a good start, that's sort of the difference between top 3 and playoffs. Make a bad start, who've got the ability to get it together. They're the difference between mid-table and playoffs. So it just always happens. No one runs away with it. And Stage run away with it. Even Forest Green at the back end of last season, they tailed off. And if it was another 10 games or so, they might have even dropped into the playoffs.
Yeah.
So it's a strange one, but obviously, teams who are resourced in January, I think both of us can fall into that bracket quite easily. It can change your season. So as long as, like I said before, you're there and thereabouts, January can really define the end of your season.
Is this a period now for you of make or break in terms of the season? Because you got a really good result against Stevenage away on the 25th of March. You've got us now away. You've got Leyton Orient at home next. 3 really sort of critical games. Then you've got AFC Wimbledon away. I mean, that's probably harder than you would suggest. I would expect them to come out of the slump they're in. Is that how you're seeing it as a club yourselves? Like, this is make or break. This is a really key part of your season.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak for being in the players group because I'm not around that all the time. But certainly from our point of view, from a supporters' point of view, you look at these 3 games and you think, well, the teams around us and the chance to take points off each other. After Mansfield have hit this bit of a blip and us winning at the weekend, it's now the first time for quite a while that it's actually in our hands being in the playoffs. So it's down to whether we can keep our cool or whether we're going to now be that team who start dropping points. So I think we were looking at this as, out of these 3 games, if we can take 4 or 5 points, I think that'll help our playoff chances. Personally, I think if we can get 7 or even 9, if that's possible, I'm not sure it is, but if we could do that, I think that puts us in the automatic picture. But then likewise, you guys, I'm sure you'll be looking at it thinking 3 points for you and results go elsewhere. You can be looking at the top 3 as well. So I think that's what's making it such an exciting game and why everyone's really looking forward to it. And being on the Friday night, obviously looking ahead then to the Saturday and what other games are on, it could really set the precedent. It could unnerve some, or it could give others something to go for.
Well, the table's going to look very different by 5 o'clock Saturday night. It's going to be, I think there'll be some starting to look upwards and some starting to look downwards by that point. It's weird because you come into Edgeley Park and the last time you came was National League North, which feels like a lifetime ago already.
Yeah.
and now we're playing each other in the Football League. Absolutely bonkers. Just mental. All in a few short years.
Yeah.
I'm happy for you, but I'm not happy for anyone. So.
Yeah, the reverse fixture felt a little bit like that as well, because the last time you came to ours, the ground was still sort of only just being done. So that was all still quite new to us. And then, by the time you come the second time and it is done and the amount of supporters there, it was a great atmosphere and a good afternoon. Just obviously the result side for us didn't go as we hoped. So, maybe we owe you one, but we know Edgeley Park's going to be a really difficult place to come. We haven't won there in 3 or 4 visits. We've had some very humbling results in the FA Cup in that first meeting. So, it's one on the radar that obviously, we want to tick off and get a win in. But for us to do that, we are going to have to earn it. So we'll see what happens. Yeah,
and just talking about pitches, we won't talk about your pitch because obviously we're not playing on it on Friday. Thank God. But Challoner did allude to in his post-match Swindon interview that you would you would relish playing on our pitch because ours is pretty much like a carpet. I think Nick, Hannah, you'll agree with that. Really good to play on. Is that going to benefit you or not? Because you're used to playing on. I mean, let's be honest. There's lots of sand on your pitch, isn't it? It's not the greatest pitch at all.
Well, it's called Costa del Salford for a reason. Yeah, no, we definitely play better on nicer pitches. I'm sure that's the source of frustration for everybody connected with the club, that weirdly enough our home stadium isn't our advantage. So yeah, coming and playing on, if it is a really good surface, that will suit us, that will suit our game. Is what we're most comfortable in doing. The players train on 4G, so we're used to playing on a good surface. So it will be an advantage of such. I think the biggest thing for us is going to be the atmosphere and how well we deal with the pressure from the stands. Because I think, like you saw at Crew, once they got that bit of optimism, it almost seemed like it could have been a bit overwhelming. So that any team's going to enjoy playing on a good pitch. To be fair, I don't think there's any teams who particularly prosper playing on a bad pitch. But the difference could really be in the stands, really, in the pressure.
Yeah, I was probably alluding to playing on a bad pitch is pretty good if you've got someone like Matt Smith up front, and then you need to lump it forward because you're trailing it towards the end. That could be a slight advantage, but it's not a bad pitch. It's a good pitch, so you can carry on playing your game, can't you?
Yeah, and we can play some very nice stuff. You look at the game at Mansfield. The pitch was okay. They tried to come and play their game, which is open football. We played it back, and we put 5 past them. So that is very much us and what we'll look to do and how we'll look to play. To be fair, I can't really say much more. We will play better on a better pitch. I think if anyone knows that, to be fair, it probably is Chally. Looking back at the National League playoff final against Fylde at Wembley, I think at that point we did get a reputation where, all right, you are a bit of a lumpet team and you go direct, but give us Wembley and we absolutely tore Fylde apart. So he probably does know that better than anyone, and that was under a different manager.
Fair dues. Towards finally, Gary Neville stepped. What's the latest with Gary Neville? Because he stepped down now, and is it the other class of '92 that are running the place? What's the latest there?
It's more, to be fair, Nicky stepped up into this chief exec role. So Gary was always, I suppose, the voice, the prominent one of the group. Who was involved mostly day to day, making the decisions. And I think with the opportunity for Nicky, now that he didn't have other employment, to come in and get more involved, I think it's just a switch in that regard. They're all still invested in it. They're all still across, meetings and decisions. But we now have Nicky as a more day-to-day figure on the ground with us, rather than Gary, just with everything else that he's got going on. Obviously he's got a very successful podcast series himself going. He's doing his Sky stuff. He's got about 1 million other businesses as well that he's trying to run. So from their point of view, they certainly felt that the time was right for one of the others to come to the fore, which was always the plan, and that's where we're at now.
When you said then he's got his own successful podcast series, I took that to mean that, as a successful podcast series, you'll also know what that means. That's how I took that. Did you, Russ?
Yeah. Let's go with that. Finally, we won't talk about how many you bring in. We're going to talk about that later, because I think you said you had a bit of a mix up with tickets or something. I think you messaged me about you messaged that, said don't ask about that, but I'm going to ask what happened.
I'll be honest, I don't know what's gone on. I know that I think we asked for a certain amount. We didn't get sent that, and we've had to keep asking for amount because that amount's kept selling out. So I don't know what's going on, but we've had a lot of phone calls if tickets arrived yet. We've got any more coming. And I think today was just the final point. We've got everything that we can give you. So they've gone and, we're sold out, however many that may be, which I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it is either.
I think we're in the covered end, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it'll be two blocks. I think it is. Maybe is it 2 blocks? Maybe because they normally have a cordon down the middle, don't they? Not James, thankfully. That'd be the worst. He does pop up everywhere though, so it would not surprise me if I get to the game on Friday night and James Corden's sat in my seat, but he's singing. Ugh.
Sat between the county fans and the Salford fans. It's Ian Dowden. Ian Dowden's always in the know. I say he's always in the know. I never fact checked any of this. One block, 250 people. Why we don't do research? Come on, that's why we rely on.
We don't do our own research, so we're not going to check other people's.
Finally, Will, before we let you go and go and get your tea and that, to give us a score prediction? Stick your neck out. I know you're the media man and the commentator. We won't hold you to it, but what do you think?
Speak for yourself.
I've been tossing this one up because obviously you got 4 clean sheets in 5 for you guys now, and we've scored 3 goals in each of the last 4 games. So it's almost like rock and a hard place, isn't it? Coming together. I'm going to go with 2-2 draw. I think there's goals in it, but I just think the qualities will sort of come together and they'll be, 2-2. Mad embrace. Let's go, Hendry. Fancy defender for a goal, Theo Vassell.
Right, let's
go and stick that on at Hills. Just in case, like I do every week when someone predicts something.
Brilliant. Right, well, let's see what happens. Right. Will, thanks so much for coming on, as always.
Cheers, Will.
Thanks for the invitation, and hope it's good on Friday.
Yeah, well, let's hope it's an open game, and obviously we win, but we're going to say that, aren't we? And you want you to win and all that stuff. But let's hope football's the winner. I've never said that before on this show. Shut up, Nick. See your face. Right, cheers, Will.
I've said it loads of times, but I always say it ironically, so it's fine. Surely ironic, like everything I say.
Speak to you soon, mate. Cheers.
Cheers. All the best.
Bye. There we go. Our mate Will. Right. Shall we crack on with the show? Let's just play a little interlude first, and then we'll get talking about Swindon, and we'll get talking to Hannah. Let me find it. Where is it, Nick? Where is it? I don't
know where it is. I can't. I mean, I could have found it in this time and pressed it myself, couldn't I? But be all right.
There it is. If you're watching us on YouTube, please like, share, and subscribe. And for the audio podcast, please rate, review, and recommend us on whatever podcast player you are listening to us on. Cheers, thank you. There we go. What was that? What pausing to get that video in?
Yeah, well, the video, the seamless way in which you found it while carrying on with the show, just chef's kiss, everything about it.
This is why we've not progressed from this podcast, Nick. Because we
speak for yourself, mate. I've got another 2 on the go. I've got it alone.
Another 2? Why? What's your other one?
It's a little watch this space.
Oh, is that what it's called?
I was going to say.
No, that would have been a better title than the one we've ended up with. But yeah.
Fair enough.
It's just us moaning about stuff, and I'm sure some of that will strike a chord with the people who watch me moaning about stuff on here every week. I'm sure they'll both be coming over to listen.
Right. Sounds
I'm
good.
not good at writing my own plugs, Russ. I'll be honest.
I was going to say.
Can't do my own reviews.
Make sure you turn up on time for them ones, though, won't you? In future.
Turn up on time for this one. I'm always on time for this one. We had our thing in Basque, and I was there 2.5 hours early. So, I mean, there's a theme that there was places that sell food.
Beer. Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
I got back on Guinness again. That was good, nice.
Oh, good for you.
That's
right.
What I'm doing.
So, no. So, shall we talk about the Swindon match on Saturday? Hannah, did you go?
Yeah.
Oh, you did? Cool.
Yeah.
All the associated roundabouts.
I was so excited about the roundabout. And we were supposed to be parking at the fire station, which is literally just off the roundabout. Yeah, there was football as well. It happened. But the roundabout.
Well, yeah, but let's get on the roundabouts because there's not much to talk about in the game. I want to hear all about this roundabout.
Well, you look at it and there's cars literally going in every direction, and it just looks like absolute chaos. But because everyone is going in the same in different directions, everyone's going so slowly, so it's actually quite civilized. But when we were leaving, I had to get like from one end to the other. And so like did a bit of a recce and stood and watched where what lane I needed to go into and where I was going to be. So yeah, fail to prepare to fail.
as they say. Can we move on from the roundabout and get onto the football by any chance?
The 45 seconds of football that broke out before the ref made himself known. 45 seconds.
Well,
I've not even got over to Malawi to watch the game by that point.
Did you miss it?
I missed all the fun of the first couple of minutes. Their dive and yellow card, our penalty miss and the red card. Yeah, missed all that. I didn't even need to go to Malawi to watch it because it was an international weekend, so it's free for anyone to stream. But I just enjoy my little weekends away, so I still went and watched it in Malawi. I'll show him. Say that, Google.
So, but it was more than just the 45 seconds or whatever it was at the start, wasn't it? There was more to it than that.
Yeah, it's very laboured. I thought after I kind of got to the point where I was just convinced we weren't going to score.
I thought they were going to score. And I think about 60, 70 minutes. It just had 1-0 loss written all over it and a horrible trip home. It went from like the kind of hysteria and delirium of the red card and the penalty being awarded, and then the actual penalty, and then downhill from there. And then we scored, and then it ended. And there was their kind of red card kind of appeal and penalty appeal as well at some point in that.
Yeah, which was like the clearest dive you'd ever see. I was surprised there was even I mean, we've accepted by now that the refs are just diabolically awful for everyone. Anyway, so we've had one of them weeks now where it's gonna. But it was a stonewall red as well for the penalty. He didn't make an effort to win the ball, so I don't see what they can. It's not like we've got away with anything there as other teams have against us. So,
and the Swindon fans were all like, they kind of took that. There was a bit of discussion around. It was too early in the game, so the referee should have just kind of let it go because it was so early and it was going to. But
no,
that was really the chaos. Chaos! Imagine Leeds against Cardiff in
the first 50 seconds. You just get away with anything.
You just do what you want for the first 50 seconds because it's too early. Anyone off? Mental.
It gets the crowd going, doesn't it? Though, because their fans were baying for it to be evened up for everything, weren't they? Absolutely everything. Yeah. I listened to the Swindon podcast, Low Strangers, earlier in the week, and they were quite accepting of the penalty. I mean, it was a penalty. I don't think you could argue with that. And they thought it was quite even up until half time. I can't disagree with them. It was almost like it was 11 men each.
Yeah,
up till half time, in beyond half time.
Yeah. Every time they got a corner, I just started pacing. I was just pacing because it just had this horrible inevitability to it. Yeah, I've got a hole in my socks now. One of my socks has got a hole in from the pacing. It's really annoying me.
Well, no, we just boot it into the box, and then someone would be there, or 4 of them would be there, and it'd be out again, and reset and try again. But it just felt, I don't know, a little bit hopeless at times and really frustrating to watch.
Was that the same sense in the ground in the away end as well? Was everybody getting like that?
I think so. There was I was kind of towards the back, and there was lots of tutting and hitting and being diplomatic. But yeah, I think frustration, absolutely. Certainly where we were.
Are you worried with what you saw? generally?
It's hard, isn't it? Because I think generally we don't necessarily do well against 10 men. And I think they, like someone said in the comments, they it was really hard to open up because of the playing style that they adopted. I think the injuries worry me. Like, it's almost like we struggled. And, you know, that Salford game was the turning point. It was like the first win, and then we went on a bit of a run. And then now there's injuries that, back to Joe Lewis, bless him. And it's, I am worried, but, you know, we've pulled them out of the bag recently when we've not been playing brilliantly. Whether we'll continue to get away with it, I don't know.
Yes, that's exactly that. I've been going back, looking back to like 96, 97 this week, and just how much tension there was in the second half of that season, and how it was just getting 1-0s and not playing particularly. So I think we're just going to have to all strap ourselves in. Ben Walker is probably cackling maniacally now because he's got the jeopardy that he wants. But it'll be all right. It'll be fine. Well, I did not expect Crowsdale to be the one popping up and scoring a winner at this point of the season.
No. Jody Morris wasn't very happy with the lad that was meant to be tracking Crowsdale, or at least following him back, because he let him run past him and then couldn't catch him. So, snooze you lose, innit? But
it all came from getting Rydell high as well.
Oh, we can't play the music. So
I think for that joke in future, we should just forget about the advertising money. It's like, sod you, YouTube. We don't want your £3.50. We're going to play. Well,
do you know? Maybe we should, because we don't get much anyway, do we? So, like you say, it's not a lot.
Do your own version.
Well, that's the point. Yeah.
Enough, well, no, because it'd be so good. It sound like the original because we're that good. So
it'd be like one of them covers where in years to come people will be like, "Oh, I prefer the cover to the original." You know, what they do with like "Hurt" by Johnny Cash and stuff.
Yeah,
that's what it'll be, and then that'll be we'll have to deal with that all our lives. People are like, "Oh, that cover you did was better than the original." It's like, yeah, we know, guys.
But you could do a series and like bundle them together.
Yeah, let's do that. And we can just get bothered in the street all the time. But look, I'm just trying to go to the beach with my Ukrainian model girlfriend. I didn't want any of this.
She was Belarusian, to be fair, wasn't she? Are we moved on to Daz Samson now? Would it be in Eurovision? No,
but it says it all that you've chosen that to bring it up to Daz Samson. That's where your head is. We've mentioned music, and you've gone Daz Samson.
Daz Samson, yeah. But back to the match though, right? What annoys me is against 10 men, it felt like we proper struggled to create anything, and we didn't take them to task. When it's the other way around, like we said on last week's show with Ben early in the season when we were down to 10 men, 7 times in the first 8 games or whatever it was. The other teams always seem to get the better of us, didn't they? But we can't seem to do that. Why is that?
Is it not something they practice? They probably don't practice it. I mean, given my extensive knowledge of counties training protocols, but maybe, I don't know, like
they must practice overloads.
Yeah.
It's common thing. They must do. It was to say if they couldn't find the space, like one of those games where the space is, you have to move the tiles around. It's like they couldn't find that space. There's always a space there, isn't there? Even if you go man to man, someone's spare, aren't they, outfield?
But they must, like, at the end of training, because as we all know, football training, all they do the warm-ups where you have to get your knees dead high. They do like little passing round they hammer a load of shots at the poor goalkeeper.
Yeah, the sub goalie,
15 minutes. He just gets shots battered at him from all angles, like often at the same time. Then you'll get in your little circles and do what are they called? Come on, Mr. UEFA coaching badge guy.
Rondo.
What are they called?
It's called the Rondo.
Rondo. That's the one. I can't. I don't feel comfortable using foreign footballing terms to describe generic football. It's not a xenophobic thing. It's just I feel like a twat I feel like one of them. I'll be drinking Madri and talking about the hops next. It's slow, yeah.
What would you call it? I've only ever known it as a rondo. What would you call it? Piggy in the middle.
Well, as my PE teacher called it, right, you dickheads, go and get in a circle and kick a ball about. Nothing wrong, did me no harm. So they do that, and then they have an 11 versus 11 at the end. And so whoever performs best in the rondo, or if someone like brings some cake in for everyone, if it's a player's birthday, he brings cake in for everyone, they should be like, right, you can sit out the 11v11, and then that gives them a chance to do 11v10.
Well, we can see on Monday, can't we? Because 5 hours of training apparently. This, the open door training event at Edgeley Park on Monday, so we'll be able to see.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Are you going? Are you two going to that?
I've got tickets. The girls can go with my dad, maybe, but
yeah, I've got a job.
Yeah, right.
So
I might go. Maybe
maybe
they'll let me join in.
No one's going to go for 5 hours, are they? Maybe I can go down.
Oh, enter Nick. Chally, where's the Rondos?
Yes, football's moved on since you know about training, Nick. Unfortunately,
maybe I've moved on. Maybe I'm the one who's matured and grown. No, it's football. Sorry, carry on, mate.
Anything more about the Swindon match before we move on?
That was a very League Two fixture. That was. When you look at some fixtures and they just take you to like a place and a time. It's like Napoli are in the Champions League like later stages at the moment, and whenever I look at one of the games, it just feels like it's a game from like the late 80s or something. Same with City getting Bayern. That feels very like 2012-ish. It's weird how some games do that. And County Swindon is peak like 90s Ensley Football League / Nationwide Football League, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's just,
I get you.
Just there. I felt like I was like 9 again.
It's weird just to say that, because over the weekend, me and my lad had the retro pie out, and we were playing Championship Manager 96, 97, and he was County, and he was playing Swindon because they were in our division that season, were they?
Yeah. 96, 97, yeah.
So yeah, that's blast from the past, yeah.
Honestly, you'll start seeing that now when you see just a random game on the telly or whatever. You'll look at it and you'll think, "Oh, this feels very like when Derby and Leeds play each other." I just think it's very like 1971.
Yeah, is it because we're back in the Football League now and these things are starting to pop up more, and we're not playing Hyde United? And
like when we played Boston, it felt very like Jim Gannon's first spell because we played him a few times then, and we've had the link with Anthony Elding. Like playing for him as well. So
who's not a Scouser, is he? I don't think.
No. He doesn't look like a Scouser.
No. I didn't think
he
was
a mustache.
Okay. Swindon then. Let's move on to Salford on Friday.
Ooh,
what do we really think now that Will's gone, even though he's listening in the back room? Because we can see him.
I'm a bit terrified, to be honest. I'm just glad there's going to be that extra drinking time that they've given me.
That they've given you.
It's going to be crucial. It's a game of fine margins, Russ. And they all add up. So that extra few hours of drinking time is going to help me a lot come 7:45, because feels like do or die. I think if we want to get top 3, it's a type of game we need to be winning.
Well, that's it. Is it a must win or is it a must not lose?
Depends how the other results go on Saturday. But obviously we're not going to know how the other results are going, so that makes it a must win. Makes it a must win, but then at 10-5 I might revise it and say, well, it was a must not lose because everyone else drew. But
yeah, it might feel disastrous coming away with the draw on Friday, and then by Saturday it might seem actually it's not that bad.
I'm not taking 1 point to Foodie Friday after the game. I'm sorry. If I turn up at Foodie Friday with 1 point from game with Salford, my mates are going to laugh me out of the building. Sorry.
Foodie Friday finishes at 9 o'clock, doesn't it?
Not when Nick's in town. No, they keep the party going, mate. No, does it? Does it really?
Yeah,
6 till 9. Yeah.
That's a bit.
Well, I mean, everything
No.
stays open and there's loads of people still there. So
It's not in keeping with the happening town in Europe, is it? I moved back for things like this, and this is what I get. I'll have to leave the game at half time then, won't I?
yes, you will. We've had a message from Rick Hinks. He's just given us some extra information for your trip to the training session, Nick. That you've
They're not letting
probably...
me anywhere near there. The restraining order.
I'm
is still
excited
in
now.
place.
Well, I think it's season ticket holders anyway, unless you're going to get a ticket somehow. You'll be able
I've
to go in the
currently got my mate's season ticket, so.
Oh yeah, you'll be able to go in the 1883 to get player autographs after the training on Monday. There you go. For those that are going to the training session. It's pretty good.
I've got a question. Can 35-year-old children go just for the autographs and the pictures?
You can escort one of mine if you want. It'll be fine.
Okay, yeah, fair enough, yeah.
Do not leave
No, no.
Nick alone with young girls. That's all I'll say. That's all I'm going to say, and we'll move
I
on.
like it dark, Russ, but I knew it'd be you. I knew this. It's all right, because when I was recording my new podcast last night, I said the thing that I think is going to be what gets me cancelled. Like,
Did you?
10 years time, I'll be on Strictly. I'll have done the thing where they draw the lot out and I get my dancer, and then before I can even start putting the fancy shoes on and all that, that's it. This will come out. It'll be front page of the tabloids, and I'll be done. I listened back to it this morning. I was like, yeah, that's me done. That's it. Not even anything that bad either. Not like that.
I just stated what I thought. Well, what a fact.
Horrible.
Some messages coming in.
I'll be honest with you, the atmosphere's turned around this hour.
well, let's move on. So some people saying definitely a must win. Yeah, it's pretty much must win. Might do a poll on that. That adds a bit of pressure, doesn't it? It's a sellout. In the past, we've normally fell flat on sellouts, haven't we? Or not sellouts, but big crowds where there's an expectation.
Not so much recently, really. I think.
No, I was thinking that. Yeah, not so much recently.
Yeah. I think the atmosphere.
Mainly because we've been sold out every week, pretty much.
Yeah, the atmosphere can be a bit flat as well when it's full. It'd be interesting to see with the railway end. Although, looking at the weather forecast, I feel really quite sorry for them because I think it's like 90% rain or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot of nostalgia around Friday night football. Like that's what I was brought up on, and my dad as well. So there'll be people going that don't normally go, and that does tend to affect the atmosphere.
Yes.
Yeah, you get the day trippers with the little picnic blankets out, don't you? Oh, with picnic blanket weather on Friday night. So that's something.
If only it could fit in my tiny bag.
Yeah.
I had two separate things said to me this week at work. One was a lady.
Two all week.
Yeah, about county. Obviously not about work, about county. One from a lady who I absolutely love to bits at work. She said she called county grassroots football, and I just couldn't. I just didn't have the heart to pick her up on it. But then the other one was I don't know if he was a City or United fan. He's not county. Messaged me and said we tried to get county tickets for the game against Salford on Friday. Can't get any that are undercover. Can you sort us some out? And I'm like, am I some sort of ticket magician or something? What do you mean? Can I sort you some out? I just replied and said, well, if there's none on the ticket site, if they're not on the site, mate, I don't. What do you mean? Like,
you should have just gone on the ticket site and sent them a screenshot and said, no, it's not there.
Yeah.
You must think you're a really big deal, Russ. Like,
no, because he
be flattered.
No. Well, as well, and I said to him,
I'm sorry, you're saying you are a big deal.
No, I didn't say that. No comment. No. But what I did say was that there's still tickets in the railway end, and he said, "Well, yeah, but there's rain forecast for the weekend." And I reply, "Well, take a brolly and you'll be right." Well, you know what? Not only is he not are they not county fans? The fair weather as well.
Fair weather day trippers.
Fair weather day trippers. What's all that about?
All the triggers are going off here.
I know.
If you bring Man City into this, Ross, I'm going to.
It's like the worst, isn't it? I don't know if there must be City or United fans.
There'll be a sea of City umbrellas. It'll be beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, don't. It's like I put that tweet out about, is it okay to have a second team? And I was quite surprised at how at the margin. Did you see that?
Yeah. That's a shocker for me,
1,600
that.
people. 1,600 people responded to that.
I think if you've relocated to another country, then I
Yes.
think it's fine to pick up a team.
I think
there.
there's
But
lines
two
to
in the
be
same
drawn.
country.
Yeah, there's lines to be drawn, isn't there? I think.
Yeah.
I think it's acceptable in some cases, but then people can do what they want at the end of the day, can't they?
It's like when you see those like Twitter profiles, it's like, oh, I'm a fan of Spurs, the Philadelphia fuckheads, whatever they're called. Spurs, Philadelphia, Chicago, Worcester City, touching myself on the bus. Just like this litany of weirdness on people's Twitter posts.
Including Wrexham. Wrexham is in everyone's now.
Yeah, there's a little dragon emoji. Yeah.
Yeah. Are we going to talk about Wrexham? I mean,
no, don't. It's not worth.
It's just
not
a
worth
classic underdog story, guys.
the United thing.
Yeah, let's not do that. I mean, we already had that this week, didn't we? Stockport United.
Hippolyte, 28 years old, out of London, England, plays for Stockport United.
Stockport United, live on North American telly.
Oh.
I can't believe that's how my night went. That I spent a long time trying to find a stream for that game. That was the moment. On top of everything, that was the moment where I thought maybe my life's not turned out how I wanted it to. Of all the stuff I've done, that was the one moment.
Was it not on Granada?
Yeah, good.
Yeah. Oh, the Granada VPN. Yeah. Did you not choose Granada on the VPN?
Well, I'm sure they can watch the highlights on Grenada Reports, can't they? That's not mine. That was Nick off Yellowboard. That, and I like ugly laughed at it for far longer than I could have done.
Commentated by Gamal Thumberley and Becky Want. She used to be on Granada Tonight, didn't she, Becky Want?
Yeah, she's on Radio Manchester now.
GMR now, isn't she?
GMR. We're well in the night. Should we go to the Nynex?
Hey, all these references, GMR
at the Nynex.
Where was we up to? I've completely lost what we were doing.
1994.
Yeah. So yeah, Friday. Yeah. There's a new county beer, isn't there? There's a new county pale ale that's going to be served in the courtyard. Not a fan of pale ale, and a pie. Yeah, a chicken.
The chicken curry pie, but then they put the county pale ale in another pie, a steak and ale pie, I think. Yeah, the chicken curry pie. Curry. Yeah, like just drowned in it. It's fine. You get
some mad scientist in the courtyard.
Yeah,
I want the can that the pale ale comes in, but they're going to decant it into a horrible plastic cup. Not a can.
Yeah, won't mind a can for this place. Yeah, that'd be good.
It won't be out open afterwards either, will it? To go and ask, or maybe it was licensing different on a Friday night, maybe.
I'll be down keeping Foodie Friday going.
Yeah.
I've got to rush. I'll be at the gates as soon as the final whistle goes. I'm like, don't take the tent down.
Just imagine it's like rocking up late to a party, innit? Just trying to keep the party going.
I'm like,
especially since it'll be really wet and everyone will be it'll just be a bit sad and dejected, and Nick will be like, right, yeah,
guys, we're gonna point against Salford. But I'll just turn up and like bang my hip on the jukebox, and the party will start again.
Big scratching noise, and then music will come out.
Yeah,
I like it.
How did you know about my eczema?
Bit about the courtyard though. This is pretty good. You know, Left Bollock, mate Ryan. I was with him a couple of home matches ago. Bearing in mind we're in I don't know, we're in March now, aren't we? And the courtyard opened in what, November, was it?
December, because it was supposed to be for the Gillingham game, wasn't it? And I think it was the Boxing Day game it opened for.
Yeah, and he said to me, it's all right, isn't it? But it'd be good if they had toilets. And I just like, looked behind and went, "They're there, Ryan."
Oh, bless.
Oh yeah.
I've been pissing myself for 3 months.
No, he's been going into the ground early.
So yeah.
Brilliant.
Anything more about Friday night then? Obviously, we're all hoping for a win. Collar,
I'm very excited.
Sars is probably still going to be injured, isn't he?
Sars is
Collar
impossible, according to the interview from last week. But
okay.
Collar's got some weird freak injury that we don't know about. And given the fact that no one's mentioned what it is, I'm assuming it's his balls. That's just where you go in it with stuff. That's where I go.
I mean, it's a good reason. Not to
Toilet
play
mouth.
football, isn't it?
Yeah. That's why I could never be in a defensive wall. I think I could be the one that lies down. As much as I hate that practice, I could be the one that lies down at the back. Because I cover quite.
And what's that called in
wall.
football? In the football circles, Nick? Come on, what's that one called?
Well, not a draft excluder. I'm not having it. It's not called a draft excluder. And John Kieran, if you're watching, you started doing this as well. John Kieran calls it a draft excluder now. It's like, but there's not like a proper name for it. Do you think Pep's there in training?
No, but there's
draft excluder.
Yeah, but that's how,
yeah, gringo.
No, there isn't like a committee that officially names these things. You know, they just.
Well, there should be.
Well, maybe we start one.
I mean, that sounds like a lot of hard work, mate.
It does actually. Yeah, I've not got time for that.
Just listen to the Football Cliches podcast. They've been doing it for about 300 episodes, so I think we're a bit behind the curve.
Yeah, I quite like the term draft excluder. I wish they wouldn't do it though, but I quite like the term. It's a waste of a man.
The only player I've ever seen do a free kick like under the wall has been De Bruyne like a few times, and that's it. I've never seen anyone else do it.
Ever?
Not that I can think of. I mean, there'll probably be like loads of famous examples now, but I can't think of.
Yeah.
It
was like when Geordie Hatter said he's never seen anybody score an indirect free kick from inside the box. But then obviously there was Alan Shearer for England, wasn't he? Who used to play for Newcastle United.
Did he? Famously.
Famously. So yeah. County ladies into the Cheshire Cup final.
Stunning stuff.
30th of April.
Yes. Is it the 30th of April? I thought it was the 23rd. I looked on the site earlier.
I'm sure it was the 30th. I hope it is the 23rd for logistical reasons, but I'm fairly sure it's the 30th.
Okay. You just chat away while I just.
I was going to say, do you want me to have a look quickly before we?
Well, I mean, I can.
It's at the Vauxhall Motors ground.
Yes. Versus Tranmere Rovers.
Tranmere, yeah.
2:00 kickoff. Maybe on whatever date it is.
Yeah. 23rd or the 30th. We'll confirm that.
2:00 kickoff.
But a really impressive 6-0 win away at Crewe in the semi-finals.
There's been some massive score lines at the Stockport Sports Village, and they only narrowly lost at the weekend. They've had a really good run. Yeah,
that was at Durham, was it? Away at Durham? Durham Sestria?
Yeah.
So having a really good season up near sort of above in the top half, which is, if you listen to our podcast with Steve O'Hara, that's kind of where they were aiming. So good progress made. So that's good. Tell us about your escapades, if you want to, with Her Game Too. Should we have a laugh at that?
Oh, should we?
Should we not?
I don't know. I don't want to not be friends with people. So Her Game Too, commonly misconceived as they were attacked last night for someone saying that women's football's shit and female commentators are shit, and that's not really what Her Game Too is about and what their ethos is. It's not about defending the quality of women's football. It's about making football inclusive and accessible for women, but for everyone. And they go across football and cricket and rugby as well. So there's kind of different divisions, and how they work is they have ambassadors at every club. And what those ambassadors do is they work as liaisons between, I guess, the female fans and another kind of community initiatives. And the the football clubs, and there's a reporting mechanism. So if you experience sexism at football, at a football match, then you can report it to Her Game 2. The club liaison then picks it up. That's not something that we have at County at the moment. We have a partnership with Her Game 2, which, as far as I can understand, is effectively like a contra deal in terms of a logo share on a website. But we don't have an ambassador. So that's something that Claire and I had looked to do, because the thing about County is that we've been really lucky, and it's, you know, sexism at County isn't something that happens that often, or not something that we're necessarily aware of. And, you know, it may be, again, that, you know, you're in a bubble and you only see what you see, and you know, it might just be that we're not aware of it. But over the last few months this season, as that fan base starts to evolve and grows, and we pick up more people kind of as we go through the season, there's comments starting to be made, stuff directed at Rebecca Welch, that, you know, doesn't sit well. It shouldn't sit well with anyone, but definitely doesn't sit well with us. And, you know, particularly raising girls to go to football games. You know, Sophie and Charlotte and Daisy, when she gets older, will never kind of know that it's not a space for them. And, you know, because of the increase of popularity of the women's game, and, you know, they've grown up going to women's football and going to County. And so County is very good at it. What we are lacking is female voices kind of on match day, female representation, at, I don't know, you know, co-coms. I'm 100% not volunteering for this. I would, you know, get distracted and be talking about planes or something kicking off in the railway end. But yeah, female voices, and I guess representation. And, you know, one of the things that I've talked a lot about is it never occurred to me that I could go to the football on my own as a woman. It just absolutely didn't. And I think it was Chesterfield at the end of last season. It was the first away game that I went on my own. I didn't know anyone. And I felt perfectly comfortable, and people made me feel welcome. But there is probably a need for a female focused kind of sub-community. And that's something that we're kind of looking at doing, either as part of Her Game 2 or not.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Yeah. It's a shame. It's a shame that I must admit, and I'll say it even if you won't, I was disappointed with Her Game 2's response to your tweet. I was expecting them to come back and say, yeah, we'll look at what your submission from before, and we'll get back to you. But it was more like, yeah, just fill it in again. I was like,
yeah,
what?
and they, you know, they are a volunteer organisation.
I get that.
And,
I get that.
You know, I you know, have a level of appreciation for it. But yeah, and we did that. We applied again. Claire and I had interviews last week. We haven't heard anything back, so it's but, you know, they're volunteers. So I'm sure we will do soon.
Yes. Ask for forgiveness, not permission, is what I say. So
yeah,
good stuff. Well, all the best with it. You've got our full support anyway. And if you want to use any of these tools, then they're free to you to use. So
thank you.
No problem. Okay, what else can we talk about? There's got to be something else.
I've got emergency questions, Russ.
Do an emergency question. Do that.
Right.
Before you do it, it is the 30th. So
30th.
Thank you, Claire Jess. And I can corroborate that it was me again, not doing full research again. Emergency question, Nick.
Doesn't sound like you. Right, directed at both of you then. What thing that everyone seems to like do you think is actually a bit rubbish? If you say air fryers, I'm gonna go absolutely.
Is this a county related question?
No. This is in general life. Yeah.
I don't know if that's easier or harder. Salt and vinegar crisps. I hate salt and vinegar crisps.
Oh my god. Oh, right. God, how are you going to annoy me, Russ, today? It's your turn.
Everyone else likes it, and I think it's rubbish.
Oh, it's generally accepted to be good. Like people tend to like it, but it's a total Emperor's New Clothes situation for you, if you like.
I'm not a quick thinker. You should have. I should have emergency answers.
Well, what I'll do.
I'll tell you what. How about Wrexham? There you go. Just been given a tip. Wrexham.
Well, what I'll do, Ross. I'll give you an emergency question for. I'll give you one now, and you can have a week to think of the answer.
Right.
And then come back to me next week, Ross. So,
cheers, Nick.
Who's the sexiest cartoon character? So I expect an answer for that next week. These are just the issues I'm working hard to get to the bottom of amongst the county nation.
Right, the county nation, like it. Are you sure you'll have to use that?
Thanks, Jonathan. Yeah, he said it was fine. He said it's fine, doesn't he? Yeah.
Oh, right, cool. Yeah. Do you know what? Phil Lloyd makes a good point. Madry, I'm with him on that. Yeah.
It's just Carlin. It's just Carlin, and they put a fucking Peaky Blinder on the can.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. They put a Peaky Blinder on it, or a guy with a flat cap, and that's it. That's good marketing, though, isn't it? That's good marketing.
Yeah.
Just Phil Lloyd, Jessica Rabbit is the correct answer. Well done. I asked for your opinion, Ross, but the answer is Jessica Rabbit. Or Marge Simpson. Marge Simpson when she gets out of the bath.
Queen. Does he mean which question is he answering there? You got any more? Have you got any more? Before we go.
Okay. No, I've just asked you that one. Which county player who's generally thought to be great do you think was painstakingly average?
Oh, that's a hard and unfair one, I think. Because I think we're quite in terms of fan bases, I think we're quite level-headed in that respect. So we don't really. It takes a lot for them to become great.
Yeah, I never said hard and fair was off the table. I never said it was going to be soft and fair rather than hard and unfair.
No, but what I'm saying is we don't really build them up to be thought of as great, do we? Unless they actually are. Nobody's ever.
Do you know how I came up with that question? I saw someone on Twitter say that Alan Armstrong was average at best.
No.
And after I'd picked myself up off the floor and come out of hospital and everything, I was very, very, very angry. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that was a shame. That was a dark day for all of us. That was.
Do you think that's someone who never saw him play?
I hope so, because the alternative is bloody terrifying.
Wow.
Like unhinged stuff.
I didn't see that.
I've seen some weird stuff on the internet, man. Some weird stuff.
I tell you who was average, but sort of got piggybacked on the 96-97 team is Andy Much. He scored some really critical goals for us, didn't he? And he was there the season before as well, I think. But I just thought he was a bit of a he just seemed to be in the right place at the right time, which is a skill in itself, isn't it? But,
literally.
Yeah, I know. But I just thought, like, it's like, what was it when Southampton away when he practically nicked Alan Armstrong's goal?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's proper shit.
It's going live.
Yeah. And he was there for 5 minutes, and what then didn't he? Oh no, it was Gordon Cowans that went on the end of season wasn't it? After playing 2 games or something. Yeah. Maybe Gordon Cowans then for us. There you go.
Yeah. All right, that's a good shout. What about you, Hannah? Have you got a suggestion for that? You're too nice, aren't you?
Yeah. Fun, nice.
Oh, there's a controversial one here. Classic County John Proudlock. I thought he was mint Proudlock.
It was one of them. He was like your luxury player. He was your wild card, wasn't he? But I think he was never. He gets remembered for. Well, I mean,
scoring lots of goals.
I remember him for the goal against Wickham in the monsoon, where he banged it in from like 40 yards, and I remember him for that picture of him and Conrad Logan swapping shirts.
Do you not remember him for linking up really well with Eldin? I thought so, because that's what I do.
Yeah, reasonably. Yeah, he's all right. Yeah. But I just don't remember him as being like same as his whole career. Really, he was just never like consistently excellent, which is why he kind of fell down the levels fairly.
That's why
quickly.
He came to us. Yeah.
Yeah, and why he ended up where he ended up.
He played for Sheffield Wednesday against us though, didn't he? And absolutely ripped us apart. I think.
Yeah, he did.
Remember
He
that?
did. That was probably his one good game in that like 3-month spell for Wednesday, I'd imagine as well.
Yeah, yeah. Ian Dowden. Ian Moore. He says no. Ian Moore was quality.
I mean, well, there's a couple of things there because the question is, which county player who's generally thought to be great do you think was average?
Yeah,
so we're talking players that people thought was.
Yeah,
I was looking for the controversial answers. I was just looking for someone to say, "Oh, Big Kev, he was good, but he couldn't head a ball," or something like that. These are the kind of views that I wanted to drag out of
He
people.
tripped over his legs.
Yeah, he's all legs, like me.
Okay, I think we're just about out of things to talk about, unless anybody's got anything else before we go.
I've got a full page of emergency questions.
Well, I think we've done that for tonight.
I think we've blown our minds enough.
We have. Okay. Right, I think that's it. Enjoy the match on Friday. I take it we're all going, are we? Well, I know you're going, Nick. You're going to Foodie Friday after.
I'm gonna be like Gazza at Euro '96, mate. Have to put speed bumps at the bar.
I'm on the
I'll
train
probably just have
to
a civilized
London,
couple of pints.
so yeah, we'll see. Might make it, might not.
It's a 4-pinter though, at the very least. Train from London.
I'm due in at 6:10. We'll see. Don't have much faith in Avanti at the moment.
No. We'll see you in the courtyard. Will you be in the courtyard, Russell, pre-match?
I will be in the courtyard. Yes, you need to be in the courtyard as well, Nick, because we're going to be presenting John Kieran with his mug. So, yeah, if you could be on time for that, that'd be great.
Where's this come from? When am I not on time?
I'm only messing.
Remember when I was on time for this the other week? And then you didn't send me the thing. I was like 15 minutes early, and you didn't send me the thing until like a minute before we went on air.
Yeah, what happened?
And I have to be ready. I have to be ready, don't I? When it all kicks off, because I'm the first one to speak. You can just piss about. I mean, you don't.
No, I don't.
Thank you for not pissing about, because I couldn't handle it. But, I'm always late, and you're always pissing about. There we go. There's our new narrative.
Yeah. Okay, let's go with that.
So when I'm late for something, I can point at you and go, "Well, he was pissing about, wasn't he?"
So yes, I will be in the courtyard. So please be there so we can present John with his mug. That's all I wanted. That's all I wanted. See what I've started now. Okay.
I'll be there.
Brilliant. Right. See you on Friday for the big match. See you later, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
This episode of the Scarf Bagara War was written, recorded and produced by Russ Johnson and Nick Lee. The music on the opening titles was produced by Dan Johnson. Subscribe wherever you get your content, as well as finding out how to join the TSBW fan club. Check out the links in the description or go to allthews, scarfbagarawar.co.uk.